Any comments on your lawsuit, or can you tell us anything about
It's
that? Where are we today?
Well, I just want to make one thing clear to everybody, because there seems to be the prevailing notion that we are asking for a recount, or going after a recount. We absolutely are not asking for a recount. That may come, but our intention was to have an accounting, a clear accounting of what actually happened, because I was personally there when the canvassing was done, and we saw discrepancies, irregularities, and possibly malfeasance. And I do say the word possibly. That is, although this our case is moving forward, it'll be heard this week and also next month. And as you're probably aware, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Virginia has allocated 3 circuit court judges to hear our case. So it's not frivolous. I've heard on local radio that one of the commentators said our suit was frivolous. Well, apparently the circuit court judge, the chief circuit court judge, obviously disagrees with that, or else he would not have let it move forward. So this is not a frivolous lawsuit. We're not after anybody. We want a clear accounting for every vote, everybody. I don't care which side of the aisle, what color you are, red, blue, independent, whatever, green, that does not matter. Our sacred right to vote in the process should be absolutely crystal clear, okay, and accountable for. And we have seen so many inconsistencies. I find it outrageous that it exists like this. Now, possibly some of this is due to ineptness or lack of training, but also you can't assuage from the fact that maybe malfeasance involved. I don't want to disclose any more details regarding this, but because the case is still active. But in my opinion, the media itself should be involved totally, completely, from the beginning to the end of the voting process, the electoral process. Absolutely. That is the only way we'll be able to avoid any malfeasance and anything going wrong. People have ill intentions, or even if it comes down to mistakes, just lack of training or human error. Let the media be involved in the complete and total aspect of the electoral process from beginning to end. Now, there is, as I sat in the canvassing, there is a section where depending on the issue involved with a absentee ballot, the name of the person has to be revealed and how they voted. That should not be open to the media, okay? But aside from that, it should be totally open to the media. This is the only way we'll have, in my opinion, election integrity in the Commonwealth. And we have a presidential election coming up in November. We have to get this right now. This is just a primary election in Little Lynchburg, but what we observed is not only here, we've seen it other places. We've heard of other places in the Commonwealth, other counties. I've had this person, who I will not name, but it's a very well-known family, that told me his mother went to vote. And when she went in, said that they told her that she already had voted. And they wouldn't allow her to vote. His sister went in also, the same thing. She was told that she voted. They would not allow her to vote. And another friend of mine went in to vote, and they said to him also, now this was not this election. Let me make this absolutely clear. This was the last election, okay? But another friend of mine went in to vote. They told him that he already voted, he could not vote. Well, he was adamant he would not leave until he cast his ballot. And this went on for a long time, where the chief there at that precinct actually called a judge to render a ruling, and he told the chief that he has to vote. He will be allowed to vote. And this is what's happening. This is in Lynchburg, folks. This is what's happening in Lynchburg. Can you imagine what's happening elsewhere? We have to protect our sacred right to vote in the process. Okay, people right to vote. This is a keystone of our democracy, and that has to be protected at all costs. Otherwise, people will lose hope. And if people lose hope, then our country is in jeopardy.
And I do want to add at this point, while we're talking about the lawsuits, and we know we have the recount lawsuit for Congressman Good and John McGuire. And I just want to remind everybody, we were fighting for a party nomination process. The state took that out of our hands. Had we had that, we would not be in flux in these 2 elections right now. We would have known the same day, because the party would have run it tight, and it would have been localized, it would have been done, we would have results the same day. We would not have been dealing with this. Also, I just want to, as he was talking about, as Peter was talking, I thought about, one of the things that's also really upset me is that I grew up in Richmond, where there was a white Democrat Joe Morrissey, who was in and out of jail and kept getting elected, and you never saw any press. I just wonder if this was a white Democrat, would we be covering this the same way that we're covering Rodney? Because he is an anomaly. He's a black Republican. You know, there's not as many. And Rodney has a Trump sign on his building. So there's a lot of, I just wonder if he wasn't so staunch in his views, would we be here right now having this conversation?
Peter, you said you weren't calling for a recount. We're talking a little over 30 votes. You're not opposed to a recount.
No, absolutely. It may work towards that way, and that was part of the what was presented to the circuit court judge the last time around. That we're not asking for a recount, but we may move into that. We want an accounting. That's what we want. We want accurate accounting of every vote that was cast, and there's a lot of discrepancies. A lot. It's very, very troubling.
So as